It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Robin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendu. Lots and lots and lots of things have happened in the past week. When I talk about that, I'm always talking about government and governance and politics. Mr. President is in London. There's going to be a UK-Africa summit, I think, starting off tomorrow, which he will be attending. Of course, Amotekun is very big in the news as well. Is it going to happen? Isn't it going to happen? But we're going to talk about all that much later on in the show with some guests who will be joining us to try and make sense, like I always say, of what Nigeria is about and what we should be expecting in 2020. But we're going to be starting off the show today with something different. It's a topic that I think is very important to a lot of us because a lot of us go through things and sometimes never really know how to either go through it or heal from the process of it all. And I'm going to be dissecting what it takes to heal through pain. And I have here with me two people who, by every means, know exactly how this works. Mary Ann Michaels and Lara Kudaisi. Thanks for being here today. Mary Ann, let me start with you. You are obviously an amputee. And you just had a baby. Congratulations, I hear. Before we get to that now, can you give us just a story about how this happened and what happened with you?
Okay, thank you very much, Ibuka. It all started 2013, a very young girl. So my hand started swelling, like something that looks like wheat low. And you know, we Africans, we don't start going to the hospital when we just have one tiny little problem. So, but with time, it started increasing. And
so it started from the finger?
From the finger,
okay.
Yes. So from my index finger. So from there, when I got to the hospital, we were told that it was more than what we thought. So they now had to run a scan and show that I had an EVM, which means arteriovenous malformation. Being a young girl, I've never heard of it. It's not common. It's not something you hear all the time. So I was really in pain and I felt bad, like, why me? Of all people. But at first, they didn't tell me I was going to go for amputation. They just said, we are going to try to solve the whole thing without amputating my hand. But with time, it kept on because it kept on increasing. I started bleeding uncontrollable. The fingers got really bad. So the fingers that were bad, they had to take it off then. So I lost 2 fingers.
They took the fingers off first?
The 2 fingers.
How long after this thing started did they take them off?
Okay, they took them off 2016. Yes, 2016 they took them off. Then 2017, 2016 they were saying they were going to take it all off. So my parents were not having it, like, why will I be with one arm and all? So with the help of some people, I went to India 2017 with the hope that, okay, when I get there, they'll solve the whole problem. You know this mentality that when you get to India, the whole thing will just get solved and all. So I went to India with high hopes that, okay, I got there, I had to go alone. You know, here in Nigeria, if you're after surgery, you can actually be with your family and, you know, some people can assist you. But there, I had to be on my own, by myself for 3 months. So when I came back, the whole thing got really bad, 2018.
So what happened when you were there? Were they treating you?
Yes, I had like three-stage surgery where I think I have some pictures on my page on Instagram. They had to remove flesh from my stomach. My hand was inside my stomach for like 2 weeks or so. Yes, wow. So, and then I had to cope on my own, do things. Because after surgery, they take you to your hotel. So I had to be on my own. I cook, I do a lot of things on my own. Those were the most painful times of my surgery stage. So after I came back and the whole thing started again, like with excess bleeding, seriously. So I looked at it like I cannot continue like this because it was looking like I was going to die off the next day. I was bleeding uncontrollably. Like I could just put my hand on this table and blood would just fill up this table. So I took it upon myself and I told my parents I was going to go for an amputation. They were like, no, let's continue to try and solve this problem. You'll be fine. You'll be okay. But I went to the hospital, military hospital. I told them that I wanted an amputation. The doctors, they tried to discourage me that you're a young girl, you shouldn't amputate your arm and all that. But they knew I was supposed to go for an amputation. They were just trying to solve me. Like, no, I wanted an amputation. And 2019, January 16th, I had the amputation, and I'll tell you the truth, that's been the best thing that happened to me. I wish
So since then, the pain is gone, no more bleeding?
No more bleeding, nothing.
Do we have an idea what causes this? Because I know it's a very rare disease. I think I heard about it for the first time when I knew you were coming and I was trying to read up on it. What exactly causes it?
I read about, I haven't asked the doctors, they said it's unknown. Like, it just happens to, out of 1 million children, you can just have one person that has it. So it just happens to be me. So the cause is unknown, and the stages at which to cure or to reduce the risk of bleeding out, because the major problem with AVMs are it bleeds, and if not
so it's just an open sore that just keeps bleeding.
That keeps bleeding, and if not well taken care of, the person will just go from that.
So how have you been able to? I mean, January 2019 is literally a year ago.
A year, yes.
How have you been? I mean, you're smiling, you look great. You had a baby. What happened between then and now that has brought the smile to your face?
Like I said, amputation happened to be the best thing that ever happened to me. I wish I had the amputation earlier. The fear of me losing my arm at first kept me from having this amputation, but I wish I had it earlier. The thing is, when one part of your body is missing, the other parts try to cooperate. Yes. So I know it's not easy. I'll tell you the truth, it's not easy. Sometimes I want to do things and I remember, oh, I have one arm, or probably I want to wear my baby's cap, for example, now, and it's always the cause. And you know, it's very fragile and very small. So I'm always trying to be very careful. Being happy, like I said, because I wanted the amputation, so it made me happy. And being happy is something that you just have to, I cannot bring back my arm. Even having a prosthesis will not bring the function of my real arm. So, but I just have to cope and continue to be happy.
Very, very interesting. But I want to come to you now, Lara, because you have a very different kind of story, which is also quite, for want of a better word, mind-blowing. So you had a child at 19.
Yes.
And I think the most interesting part of your story is that you've had 15 abortions.
Yes. I understand.
How? What happened?
Well, you know, I was just, for instance, me and Marianne, both of us are healing through pain. It's just a different kind of pain.
Yes.
You know, so I was just this child who was boisterous and all of that, and I was in the high institution, or just entered into the high institution, you know, had a boyfriend from way back, and long story short, I got pregnant, you know, and I had no idea. I was 5 months and 2 weeks gone before I found out.
So you know, when you were 19?
That was when I was 19, you know, so 18 plus at the time, you know, so I was still in school, so I went back to school. But of course, that disappointed my dad. You know, he was so angry, he was so disappointed. I was the first child. I finished secondary school as far back as I was 15 years old. You know, so you would think, you know, in families, you'll say, this is my first child who would make me great and stuff like that. You know, so at that time, and then I had the baby, of course, I was in school. And he would look at me and tell me, you know, nobody will marry you, you know. How are you ever going to make it in life? Even virgins don't even get husband, you know, let alone an after one, you know, you're finished. That was my interpretation in my own mind, you know. So in my own mind, I told myself that I would get married to prove this man wrong and be somebody great in life, you know. And that's what all of us do. But that was the greatest mistake of my life, because it now, from that moment, it became Operation Get Married. You know, so, and that what that meant was that anybody who came, the goal was get married. So red flags, 15 flags, I didn't care. You know, so even if they say, use your head and stand on one, I would do that. So even if they say, let's not use protection, I would do that. So even if I got pregnant, I'm like, you know, and like, you're taking it off, I would do that, because it was Operation Get Married, you know. So that was what led, and I didn't even know what to say. Maybe I was very fertile, one. Thank God for that. And I was too naive. And I just wanted to please, or to prove my daddy wrong. I wrote a book, you know, and there's a chapter that said, I married to prove daddy wrong. You understand? So that was why I had all the heartbreaks. I had 14 heartbreaks, you know, all the abortions. Because somebody would say, I think I aborted like 4 times for one guy. and he will still not want to use protection. And I will not be able to say no or fight against it because I wanted to get married. And a lot of ladies, even men are like that, you know. So, and for me, it was Operation Get Married. For some people, it's Operation Get Rich. For some other people, it's Operation Buy a Car, prove somebody wrong, you know. And it's in NLP, we call it away from motivation. It's a motivation, but a very, very wrong one.
So you ended up getting married?
Oh, yes. So I got married. So even before I got
now?
married, I was 30 when I got married. So 11 years after I had my daughter. So I got married, you know, seeing like 15 million flags, but I still felt I would help him, I would bring him off, you know. And I remember on the day of the introduction ceremony, my dad, after my in-laws left, my dad called us into the sitting room, me and my mom, and said, I forgive you today, you know. So validating what you know, and I didn't even know. I was like, forgive us for what? Say, for getting pregnant and having a child. So now you have proven that you will be great in life. You know, and that's what a lot of Africans do, or African parents do, because we, you know, to say, if you are not married, you're not successful in life.
How's your relationship with your father now?
My dad is dead.
Okay.
You know, so, but before he died.
Was there forgiveness from
Oh,
him?
yes, there was, you know. Before he died, I had to let him know, because he didn't know. You know, so that's why I could not.
Did he understand?
He didn't understand, but when I spoke with him, he did, but not, of course, not fully. You know, but I needed to let him go. The forgiveness was for me, not for him, because if you really check it, he was disappointed. His pain was valid.
I understand your story to an extent, but yes. Don't you ever worry? You live in a country, I mean, in a world, not even a country where there's a lot of judgment, right?
Oh, yes.
One abortion is, for a lot of people, is wild enough.
Yes.
You come out and tell your story that you've had 15 abortions.
Yes.
What do you want to achieve by telling that sort of a story? Are you trying to change any lives? What exactly do you want to achieve by doing that?
Okay, for instance, right now I'm a therapist. You know, I'm a healing coach, relationship coach, marriage counselor, emotion, you know, I do all of that. You know, so, but what I want to do now is to help people heal from trauma. Help people heal from pain, childhood dysfunctions. And if you're not vulnerable, people will not come to you. So that story, a lot of people don't like it. My dad was against it. My family was against it. My siblings, you know, abroad, they'll call me, what is going on, you know. But I had to take it that that's my purpose in life, because there was just a voice that would not let me rest. Share this story, help people heal, so that they will not go through the same thing that you went through. You know, so if you Google my name, that's what pops out at you. And I've had so many backlashes. There used to be a time I would cry, I would beat myself, who sent me, but now I'm used to it. You know, it's because it's Nigeria. I used to say that I don't think I'm meant for this country, because the things that we're supposed to be talking about, people are dying, people DM me, they call me, people have had 25 abortions, 18 abortions. You know, they can't have kids anymore. You know, or some people are going through so many, if I begin to tell you, but they can't say it until they hear my own story. It makes them comfortable for them to come to me. You know, but they can't share it like me, which is very understandable, because not everybody can do that. It's your purpose is different.
Both your stories are very different, obviously.
Yes.
What I think stands out for me, first of all, is the fact that you had parental support.
Yes.
Through your journey, you did it.
No.
And those are sometimes they say family is very key. So
Yes.
how important was family in going through all of this? Even at some point you rebelled against them even to take this drastic decision.
Yeah, my family, they supported me, because during the times I was in the hospital, they would come, they would stay in the hospital with me. My dad would encourage me. Even when I had that mini amputation, my dad cried, because I happened to be the only girl in my house. So, and my dad cried, and the main concern was who was going to marry you. So, and God did wonders. And when I met my husband, at first, when I had my amputation, I was dating him before my amputation. So when I met my husband, my dad was like, are you sure he's not with you because of pity? I don't want anybody to beat you. But they were very supportive. My families, my uncles and the rest, they were encouraging me. Don't worry, somebody that will marry you will come. Don't think about it. But then I wasn't even thinking about marriage at all. All I wanted was my freedom. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be living a pain-free life, because if you've experienced pain, then you know exactly how it feels. Then I wasn't concerned about marriage or whatsoever. I just wanted to be free, because then I could not go out without carrying drugs, without carrying bandage, because I might start bleeding and I'll just excuse myself and go to the bathroom and change up. But my parents were very supportive. They tried.
Yeah.
They tried their best.
You, of course, on the other hand, didn't have family support. So what?
Oh, well,
what was
in the
it for you?
beginning, in the beginning, they weren't supportive. But when it became a child, you know, it was their first grandchild. You know, they were like, before my dad died, my daughter was his, you know, like best grandchild ever. You know, so everybody came around eventually. But they weren't supportive of the story of or the cause of what I'm doing. You understand? There was a time I had a full-fledged page in Guardian newspaper, and it went viral. That was the first time I was going to go viral in 2016. And my dad was, you know, livid. His younger brother had called him. People had called him, "Are you sure your daughter is not a prostitute?" And at that time, I was married. I had a son. You know, so they to be honest, none of them knew about the abortion. You understand? So it was when they read that and, you know, everybody went. So after that, they had to come around.
How do people treat you when they hear the story?
Now, it used to be bad, you know, in the past. You know, there was a time I went to speak at an event, a conference in 2017. Narrate came and I didn't know. And then my phone was just popping the next morning. I'm like, what's going on? Somebody called me, "You're on Narrate. If you see comments, well, it was, and people were calling me, "How are you feeling? What do we do? Do we do a press release? Do we do?" And I'm like, please, I'm not doing any press release. I signed up for this, you understand? So this is what I'm going to get, you know? So, but at the time, I was married. So it was like a positive story. You know, eventually she got married. Now she found a happily ever after. And I was matchmaking people. I was a relationship coach. I was a marriage counselor.
So people see more of the
So
positive.
people say, you know, used to see the positive until the marriage now broke. And then I wrote a book about it. So that was when all hell, you know, let loose.
That's a lot. You have an event coming up, right?
Yes.
I feel like I have 1,001 questions which I can't ask here, but I mean, I guess an event like that will also help people understand a lot of your story. So tell us about this event.
So the event is called How They Healed. You know, it's happening on Saturday, you know, in Lagos. And Marianne and some other people, you know, people who've lost their wives, their husband, Teddy Donne, so Samomo, late Kefe's husband is coming, Chinonso Arubai, you know, late Eric, you know, his wife, you know, is coming. DJ, people are coming to share how Lepasha's boss, Uche Agbayi, that had cancer, you know, and struggling with it. He's coming to share on Saturday. And this is what we want to hear about. How did they cope with it? Because Marianne has talked about the physical aspect of the pain. There's the emotional aspect. You understand? There's the, you know, effect. Like she's talking about relationship, marriage, you know, even our present marriage, what's the effect? So that's what we're going to talk about at that event in Lagos, you know, in VI. And we're inviting people to come and hear how these people went through and then came out, how they are healing. How they've completely healed. You know, that's why I could come out to share my own story. Because now I have a page called Life After Divorce on Instagram, Life After Divorce _NG. And I have people who've been through divorce. I want to tell them that you can heal, you can be rehabilitated. If you want to pursue reconciliation with your ex-husband or wife, you can do that. And if you want to move on and remarry, you can do that and have a fulfilled life, you know, instead of being cast away, you know, and all of that. So that's what the event is about, you know.
Marianne, before we go, just very quickly now, there are people who probably have similar stories to you, who have gone through traumatic experiences, but not a lot of them see the light. How do you tell someone like that to sort of, okay, come out of it and, you know, see the best in it like you have?
It takes patience. I didn't get my success story in one day. It took me like so many years. I battled with pain. I didn't just get my happily ever after now. Yeah. So it takes patience. Just keep going. God got you. Just keep pushing. You get there.
Yeah.
So I keep telling them.
Final word?
Oh, yes. I would tell people that you can be happy again. You can heal despite what you have been through. Despite what people have said about you, despite what you are seeing around you, you can be happy and live happily ever after if you seek help.
So Saturday?
Yes, Saturday, January 25th, you know, venue is at Fogo de Lagos. Fogo de Lagos, Ibrahim Waziri Street off Adiola Odeku in Victoria Island. You can go to How They Healed on Instagram, How They Healed. You know, How They Healed on Instagram on my page, Lara Yisi International, you know, everything is there. You have to pay to come in and all of that, but every information is there.
Thank you very much, and thanks for sharing your amazing stories.
Thank you for having us.
And looking forward to the event on Saturday.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time.